In Jewish tradition, the value to save a life is so important that it trumps nearly every other obligation that we have in our tradition. And yet, we know that as the end of life approaches, some of the care and intervention that we are able to provide is not always the same as saving a life. We know from the familiar teaching from the book of Ecclesiastes that there is a time to be born and a time to die. But the advancement of medical technology and interventions has made it harder and harder to discern when is the time to die. There is an important story in the Talmud that provides me some insight into this difficult decision that weighs heavily on so many families. At the deathbed of Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi, all of his students were gathered around praying devoutly for his recovery. And his maidservant, who knew him perhaps the most intimately and well, was conflicted about whether or not she wanted the students' prayers to be answered or she wanted the end of her employer's suffering. And in the end, she makes a determination that his suffering is too great, and she takes an earthenware vessel and drops it from the roof of the house. And in the shattering that ensues, the students stop praying for a moment, and at that time, the rabbi's life comes to an end. And the text seems to judge her actions with merit. Jewish tradition stands in favor of saving a life, but it stands against interventions that only delay death and increase suffering. And so we have strong support from within the tradition to seek to discern when the moment to allow a natural death to take place has come and when we are simply standing in the way of that natural process. That's a part of every life.